In this video, we'll share with you some collections of Stoic quotes that will inspire and motivate yourself to change for good. I know some of you already have an idea about Stoics. But for those who didn't, here's a brief summary about it. The Stoics are especially known for teaching that virtue is the only good for human beings. And those external things, such as health, wealth, and pleasure, are not good or bad in themselves, but have value as material for virtue to act upon. Alongside Aristotelian ethics, the Stoic tradition forms one of the major founding approaches to virtue ethics. The Stoics also held that certain destructive emotions resulted from errors of judgment, and they believed people should aim to maintain a will that is in accordance with nature. Because of this, the Stoics thought the best indication of an individual's philosophy was not what a person said but how a person behaved. To live a good life, one had to understand the rules of the natural order, since they thought everything was rooted in nature. By the way, remember to click the red button below to subscribe on this channel, and turn on the bell icon to get notified for new videos every week. Alright, let's get right into it. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason, which today arm you against the present. It is the power of the mind to be unconquerable. Until we have begun to go without them, we fail to realize how unnecessary many things are. We've been using them not because we needed them, but because we had them. For what prevents us from saying that the happy life is to have a mind that is free, lofty, fearless and steadfast, a mind that is placed beyond the reach of fear, beyond the reach of desire, that counts virtue the only good, baseness the only evil, and all else but a worthless mass of things, which come and go without increasing or diminishing the highest good, and neither subtract any part from the happy life nor add any part to it. A man thus grounded must, whether he wills or not, necessarily be attended by constant cheerfulness, and a joy that is deep and issues from deep within, since he finds delight in his own resources, and desires no joys greater than his inner joys. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason, which today arm you against the present. It is the power of the mind to be unconquerable. Until we have begun to go without them, we fail to realize how unnecessary many things are. We've been using them not because we needed them, but because we had them. For what prevents us from saying that the happy life is to have a mind that is free, lofty, fearless and steadfast, a mind that is placed beyond the reach of fear, beyond the reach of desire, that counts virtue the only good, baseness the only evil, and all else but a worthless mass of things, which come and go without increasing or diminishing the highest good, and neither subtract any part from the happy life nor add any part to it. A man thus grounded must, whether he wills or not, necessarily be attended by constant cheerfulness, and a joy that is deep and issues from deep within, since he finds delight in his own resources, and desires no joys greater than his inner joys. The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Misfortune nobly born is good fortune. You should live in such a way that there is nothing which you could not as easily tell your enemy as keep to yourself. Nothing is burdensome if taken lightly, and nothing need arouse one's irritation so long as one doesn't make it bigger than it is by getting irritated. You know yourself what you are worth in your own eyes, and at what price you will sell yourself. For men sell themselves at various prices. This is why, when Florus was deliberating whether he should appear at Nero's shows, taking part in the performance himself, Agrippinus replied, "Appear by all means." And when Florus inquired, "But why do not you appear?" he answered, "Because I do not even consider the question." For the man who has once stooped to consider such questions, and to reckon up the value of external things, is not far from forgetting what manner of man he is. What really frightens and dismays us is not external events themselves, but the way in which we think about them. It is not things that disturb us, but our interpretation of their significance. I hear my silence talked of in every lane. The suppression of a cry is itself a cry of pain. Remember to act always as if you were at a symposium. When the food or drink comes around, reach out and take some politely. If it passes you by, don't try pulling it back. And if it has not reached you yet, don't let your desire run ahead of you. Be patient until your turn comes. Adopt a similar attitude with regard to children, wife, wealth and status, and in time, you will be entitled to dine with the gods. Go further and decline these goods even when they are on offer, and you will have a share in the gods' power as well as their company. That is how Diogenes, Heraclitus and philosophers like them came to be called and considered divine. Remember that all we have is on loan from fortune, which can reclaim it without our permission, indeed, without even advance notice. Thus, we should love all our dear ones, but always with the thought that we have no promise that we may keep them forever, nay, no promise even that we may keep them for long. It is not the man who has too little that is poor, but the one who hankers after more. Nothing, to my way of thinking, is a better proof of a well-ordered mind than a man's ability to stop just where he is and pass some time in his own company. From the philosopher Catullus: never to be dismissive of a friend's accusation, even if it seems unreasonable, but to make every effort to restore the relationship to its normal condition. If what you have seems insufficient to you, then though you possess the world, you will yet be miserable. It is more necessary for the soul to be cured than the body, for it is better to die than to live badly. Today I escaped anxiety. Or no, I discarded it, because it was within me, in my own perceptions, not outside. Here is your great soul, the man who has given himself over to fate. On the other hand, that man is a weakling and a degenerate who struggles and maligns the order of the universe and would rather reform the gods than reform himself. Remind yourself that what you love is mortal. At the very moment you are taking joy in something, present yourself with the opposite impressions. What harm is it, just when you are kissing your little child, to say, "Tomorrow you will die," or to your friend similarly, "Tomorrow one of us will go away, and we shall not see one another anymore. For I am not everlasting, but a human being, a part of the whole as an hour is a part of the day. Like an hour I must come, and like an hour pass away." No man is good by chance. Virtue is something which must be learned. You are indeed a man of sorrows and have suffered much. Pray be seated now, here on this chair, and let us leave our sorrows, bitter though they are, locked up in our own hearts, for weeping is cold comfort and does little good. You can be invincible if you enter into no contest in which it is not in your power to conquer. When you are alone, you should call this tranquility and freedom, and when you are with many you shouldn't call this a crowd, or trouble or uneasiness, but festival and company, and contentedly accept it. Soon earth will cover us all. Then in time earth, too, will change. Later, what issues from this change will itself in turn incessantly change, and so again will all that then takes its place, even unto the world's end. To let the mind dwell on these swiftly rolling billows of change and transformation is to know a contempt for all things mortal. Perhaps I did not always love them so well as I do now, but in such cases as these, a good memory is unpardonable. A man is as much a fool for shedding tears, because he isn't going to be alive 1,000 years from now. Let nature make whatever use she pleases of matter, which is her own. Let's us be cheerful and brave in the face of all, and consider that nothing of our own perishes. What is the duty of a good man? To offer himself to fate. For those who follow nature everything is easy and straightforward, whereas for those who fight against her life is just like rowing against the stream. If you admit to having derived great pleasures, your duty is not to complain about what has been taken away, but to be thankful for what you have been given. Everything which went beyond our actual needs was just so much unnecessary weight. A burden to the man who had to carry it. So the spirit must be trained to a realization and an acceptance of its lot. It must come to see that there is nothing fortune will shrink from. There's no ground for resentment in all this. We've entered into a world in which these are the terms life is lived on. If you're satisfied with that, submit to them. If you're not, get out, whatever way you please.